everywhere, GBS.
A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Ivy Kamau. We have a lot for you lined up tonight in the bulletin, but first, here are the highlights.
Don't be drawn into conflicts that are not yours. Don't hate people you don't even know. Don't hate people who have not even wronged you.
Wetangula cautioned the youth against engaging in violent protest.
For 5 days, in fact many months, whether she would live or die.
Freedom in death is only possible if you have had freedom in life.
That moment also gave me a glimpse of how I would want to live my death.
UK Parliament prepares for pivotal vote on assisted dying for terminally ill adults.
All in all, we prayed that it's God's blessing, so we thank God. Yeah.
Police FC to lift their maiden FAF Premier League title after final showdown with Gor Mahia. Now to our first story. Amid rising tension in Nairobi over planned Gen Z demonstrations to mark last year's June 25th protest against the proposed 2024 financial bill, political leaders have urged calm and warned against causing unrest. At a women empowerment event in Nyamira County, Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula stressed the importance of defending peace with every available effort, emphasizing that peace has no alternative in the country. Other leaders also condemned opposition figures accusing of using young people to fuel political divisions. Now, nominated Member of Parliament Irene Mayaka and Majority Whip Silvanus Osoro joined the call, urging youths to avoid being misled into political conflicts that do not serve their interest. The leaders reminded Kenyans of the painful unrest of the 2007 and cautioned against reckless rhetoric that could plunge the country back into chaos ahead of the general election. The delegation also condemned the generalization of the police force following recent protests, calling for justice to be applied fairly across all regions. Speaker Wetangula praised efforts to empower women, youth and vulnerable groups, noting that all vital pillars of Kenya's development and national unity. He concluded by urging Kenyans to reject tribalism and work together to build a peaceful and inclusive nation for future generations.
Don't be drawn into conflicts that are not yours. Don't hate people you don't even know. Don't hate people who have not even wronged you. Focus on our country. Ndio tunasema kule Nairobi, wale ambao wanaleta furugu na kuharibu biashara ya watu, tunawakemea. People struggle to build lives. Mtu ana duka moja kidogo, ako hapo na stoko yake 1,100, mnaleta furugu, vijana wanakuja, wananyakua yote wanaenda. Insurance hailipi, mambo ya fujo. So you have crippled somebody who has struggled so much to be somebody.
Hii siasa ya 2027 ikifika hiyo wakati tutakunja shati, tuingie barabarani, tunyoreshane na yule mtu ya Kotikombo. Mnajua yule mtu ya Kotikombo? Mtu ya maneno machafu, yule mtu wa mdomo chafu, yule mtu ya sura mbaya. Ule mtu wako na sura mbaya sana. Na mimi nataka kuambia wanawake, nyinyi pia mnapitianga shida za zingine. Lakini sisi tutashirikiana na nyinyi tuhakikishe Kenya yetu imeweza kusonga mbele. Kwendeni huko. You must respect the Kenyan constitution and the Kenyan people. Nyinyi mmekubali namna hiyo? Mnawaambia hamtaki vita. Hamtaki vita. Astua next week, ile kitu wamepanga next week Nairobi. Hatutaki sisi vita. Tafadhali. Tumechoka kabisa. Hata vijana wamesoma wamechoka kutumika. Borabu si namna hiyo.
Sasa nataka kuongea kama Mandela, mtu mwenye ako na shida. Nilisikia akiambia naibu ya rais ya kwamba ako na soprano. Unajua Wakisii wengi mnakuanga na soprano ni sawa, lakini heri ukuwe na soprano, heri ukuwe na ukose bass kuliko ukose akili kama Gachagua. Heri ukose bass ni sawa, utang'ang'ana, utasema kenye utasema, lakini ukose akili ni tabu kubwa sana.
Maneno tunasikia ya Wednesday ya kusema ya kwamba kuna watu wanapanga mikutano ya kukuwa na vita. Sisi kama jamii ya Homo Gusii, sisi ni watu tunapenda kuchapa kazi, si ndio? Hatutaki pali ambapo watu wanapigana. Vijana wenzangu, nataka kuwaeleza tafadhali, msikubali kutumika vibaya, si ndio? Msikubali kutumika vibaya. Wacha tukae pamoja, tukae kwa amani, tusupport serikali, ndio sisi kama Abagusii pamoja na kila mtu hii Kenya tuweze kuwa na amani, tuweze kuwa na maendeleo, sisi wote tupate kitu.
Over 9,000 youths from Embu County have applied for the Climate Work Program, a government initiative aimed at providing employment in road construction, tree planting, and environmental sanitation. With 800 worker slots and 29 supervisor positions allocated to the county, authorities are preparing to begin the recruitment process, ensuring fair distribution across all wards while promoting inclusivity and gender parity. Here is more on the story.
Embu County has received nearly 10,000 applicants from the youths eager to join the Climate Works program, which closed its online application on the 18th of this month. The initiative aims to provide employment opportunities to young people aged 18 to 35, focusing on road construction, tree planting, and environmental sanitation. The county has been allocated 829 worker slots and 29 supervisor positions to be distributed across its 20 wards, ensuring inclusivity and gender balance.
So far tumepata idadi ya watu 9,958 wale wameapply kwa hii portal ya kuajiri vijana kwa hii kazi ya climate work. Na Embu County imepewa nafasi ya watu 829. Hawa ni wafanyakazi na pia supervisors 29. Na tumekubaliana leo kwamba tutagawanya hizi nafasi kwa kila ward.
County Commissioner Jack Obu confirmed that the recruitment process will begin once the full list of applicants is received. Sub-county committees, led by deputy county commissioners, will oversee fair selection by ward, with each ward initially guaranteed 30 worker positions and 1 supervisor. Areas like Embu Town and Runyenjes are expected to receive more slots due to the higher workload demands related to ongoing infrastructure and sanitation projects.
Kila ward itapata vijana 30 kwa sababu tuko na wards 20, so kila ward watapata vijana 30 kwa ile awamu ya kwanza, na pia supervisors, kila ward 1 supervisor. Lakini kuna wards ambaye wako na ile workload kubwa kushinda zingine. Kwa mfano Embu Town watapata idadi kubwa kidogo kwa sababu ya ile kazi kwa program ya kura na hata ya National Highways. Na pia Runyenjes Town pia watapata idadi kubwa kidogo kushinda ile 30 kwa sababu ya ile kazi za urban roads. Kuanzia leo tukipata ile list kutoka Nairobi, ile list ya vijana wale apply, sub-county committees chini ya wenyekiti wa deputy county commissioners wataanza kufanya recruitment.
To ensure transparency and prevent conflicts, the recruitment will involve additional stakeholders, including the county government and members of the county assembly. This collaborative approach aims to uphold fairness and equity throughout the hiring process as the program seeks to empower youths and boost local environmental efforts. Beatrice Wangoi, GBS News.
President William Ruto convened cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, governors, and members of parliament for the afternoon session of the 3rd National Executive Retreat at KCB Leadership Center in Kajiado County this Friday. The meeting focused on assessing government performance and accelerating the implementation of key development projects. During the session, President Ruto emphasized strict accountability, urging all government officials to provide detailed updates on their ministry's progress. He made it clear that underperformance will not be tolerated, warning that any direct calls from him will focus solely on the results and not routine matters. The president also announced the appointment of former CS Aden Mohammed as strategy and execution officer tasked with ensuring swift decision-making and effective project implementation across ministries. In addition, governors were reminded to actively partner with the national government to fast-track service delivery and support the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. President Ruto stressed the importance of collaboration between the national and the county governments to achieve inclusive growth and improve livelihoods for all Kenyans.
Accountability is no longer about Auditor General or Comptroller of Budget or Parliament. It is now an ecosystem. We have the media at the corner. We have civil society in some place. We have professional groups in some corner. We have citizens. So accountability comes from all angles. We are one government. We are one government. One broad-based government. So there is no government, there is no corner that belongs to any one of you. There is no corner that belongs to anybody. You know, the problem of silos is that somebody goes and corners something there, and then he says, nothing happens in this place unless I say. Really? I can't say that myself. How do you say that nothing will happen unless you say? Surely. You know? Let us benefit from synergy. Waswahili wanasema kuuliza si ujinga, bali ni kutaka kujua. So, if there is something that is disturbing you, you know, instead of displaying ignorance, ask. Say, you know, there is a problem here. How do I go about it? There is no problem.
Web developer and activist Rose Njeri has been cleared of all charges related to her creation of digital platform used to protest the 2025 financial bill. The court dismissed the case, calling the charge sheet defective and lacking any valid legal basis. Here's more on the story.
There was relief and celebration today outside the Milimani Law Courts after charges against web developer and activist Rose Njeri were officially dismissed. Principal Magistrate Geoffrey Onsaringo ruled that the charge sheet filed against Njeri was legally defective and failed to clearly outline any offense.
Upon perusal of the entire Section 16 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, vis-a-vis the particulars of the offense, I hereby proceed to discharge the suspect, that is Rose Njeri Tunguru, under Section 89(5) of the Criminal Procedure Code. These are the orders of the court.
Njeri had been facing accusations of unauthorized interference with the computer system, a charge tied to her creation of a digital platform that allowed Kenyans to email Parliament in protest against the 2025 finance bill. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Nairobi.
Moving on swiftly, the weekly Boomerang edition is here for you all. All political sarcasm within the country gathered and prepared for you, your point blank, by the Boomerang captain, Victor Uduny. As they say, laughter is the best medicine. Enjoy the viewing.
Mrembe Rand, Swa, Tete.
It is diabolical.
What?
It is diabolical. It is very wrong.
Yesu! What did you say?
Sio Mkenya atanyamaza.
Wachanga hiyo maneno hiyo.
Ni wewe utaondoka kwa hiyo kiti.
Hata angalia wakiongea, wanaongea na kisirani mingi sana.
Kama huyu mtu ametuumiza namna hii first term, kwa bahati mbaya akirudi second term.
Why is that? Why?
Ni kama sijui nani aliwakosea.
Hakuna kanisa hajaingia.
Na kama wako na kisirani na mimi, wawachane na Wakenya wakuje tukutane kando huko.
Mimi nikisema William mnasema 2 term. William Samoei Ruto.
1 term.
Ni nyinyi wote mnampatia 2 term.
1 term.
Kenya ni kubwa. Usifikiriange kwa ndoto yako ati sasa umeimba mahali fulani 1 term. Ati sasa ishakuwa. Kenya ni kubwa. Hey! Mtu ameweka nyoka kwa mfuko haezi enda mbali. Unajua kuna watu wameweka nyoka kwa mfuko. Akiweka mkono kwa mfuko hivi, nyoka inauma. Mtu ameweka nyoka kwa mfuko haezi enda mbali. Unajua kuna watu wameweka nyoka kwa mfuko. Akiweka mkono kwa mfuko hivi, nyoka inauma.
We cannot hand over to people hawana mpango.
Wewe shikilia hivyo.
Si ndio?
Sakayo.
Hakuna barabara hajui kwa jina.
Tunatangaza kandarasi ya barabara ya kutoka Tarbo kwenda Makutano, iende Nzoia River pale chini.
What?
Ipande juu iende Sihendu, iende Saboti mpaka Endebess. Unajua tulikamilisha ile barabara ya kutoka Soi hapo, kutoka hapa Tarbo kwenda Soi.
Anataja barabara Wakikuyu wanasema
Watu wa Malava waliniuliza barabara ya kutoka Ikoli kuja Mungatsi kwenda mpaka Malava. Wanataka i-cross barabara hiyo kubwa iende Samitsi alafu iungane na Navaholo. Kuna barabara ile tulianza kule Sianda. Inakuja Malaa, inakuja mpaka mahali inaitwa Nambacha alafu somewhere here. Wanasema kuna kilomita sijui ngapi imebaki. Sijashika sana. Mnasema
inatoka Navaholo, Makukuni, Mbande.
Mbande ati inafika Mbande hapa.
Pigia nyinyi salute.
Hii timu yetu kocha anaitwa Raila Amolo Odinga. Ako kwa bench. Golikipa yake anaitwa Ichungwa. Nambari 2 anacheza Osoro. Nambari 3 anacheza Ngeno. Nambari 4 anacheza Didmas. Nambari 5 anacheza Orero. Nambari 6 anacheza Munyazi. Nambari 7 kwenye wingi ni Weta. Nambari 8 holding midfielder pale anacheza Musalia Mudavadi. Katika wingi ingine pale nambari 9 tunamwangalia pale William Samoei Ruto. Nambari 10 Oparanya. Pande ile mwingine tunamuona golikipa Kalonzo. Nambari 2 ni Malala. Nambari 3 ni Manueli, mtu mwingine anaitwa Mutu. Nambari 4 pale anacheza mtu aliyepotea anaitwa Malala. Nambari 5 ni mtu mwingine aliyepotea anaitwa Moses. Anatoka kule upande wa Munyoro. Mpira unawekwa katikati. Anachukua pale Osoro. Osoro anachukua mpira anampatia pale Ichungwa anachukua katikati anampatia Faruk anaweka kwa kifua anampatia Weta anachukua mpira anampatia hadi huyo anakwenda William Ruto anamjenga wa Mnyoro ameuka chini goal.
Si amemaliza game.
Pigia nyinyi.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming at our social media platform. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think this school is the best school your children can go to.
Mali na ambapo nakukaribisha tena kwa mpigo tena zaidi kila siku ya Jumamosi. Unazidi kuungana nasi.
Ukiangalia Real Betis walianza kwa moto sana.
Ndani ya Sports Sugu, mali ambapo tunakuelimisha na tunakujuza mengi kuhusiana na mambo ya kandanda, sababu hapa nchini Kenya, ligi kuu nchini Uingereza, mali ambapo ni Uhispaniola, Ujerumani, Ureno, kila kitu inakuwa iko swadakta kabisa.
Hello, boys and girls. How are you today? Because I am very, very happy. So we are on Kids Mind on GBS TV.
Today we're going to make ta-da! A boba tea letter set.
We are moving to singing class.
Skinamarinky dinky ding, skinamarinky doo. I love you.
The tortoise and the hare. Friends, do you know about this story?
Now you're finished to make.
Enjoy yourselves, everybody.
Everywhere, GBS.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think this school is the best school your children can go to.
Mali na ambapo nakukaribisha tena kwa mpigo tena zaidi kila siku ya Jumamosi. Unazidi kuungana nasi.
Ukiangalia Real Betis walianza kwa moto sana.
Ndani ya Sports Sugu, mali ambapo tunakuelimisha na tunakujuza mengi kuhusiana na mambo ya kandanda, sababu hapa nchini Kenya, ligi kuu nchini Uingereza, mali ambapo ni Uhispaniola, Ujerumani, Ureno, kila kitu inakuwa iko swadakta kabisa.
Everywhere, GBS.
11 days and Zambia is still mourning former President Edgar Lungu, a row erupted following his death as his family and his patriotic party insisted that the late Lungu had rejected a state funeral. On the other side, the Zambian government went on and initiated a state burial. What is happening from Zambia? Our GBS senior reporter Victor Uduny prepared this report from Zambia.
A burial turned political. 2 weeks in, Zambian former state President Edgar Chagwa Lungu breathed his last in South Africa while receiving treatment. His political legacy still lingers on, turning into a national gridlock. He was ousted from power in 2021 by President Hakainde Hichilema, who has since remained his arch-enemy in life and death. There has been a dispute between the family and the government on how his mortal remains can be repatriated into Zambia. Immediately he died, the family maintained that the late Lungu must not be accorded a state burial. This is as per the late Lungu's wish that Zambian President Hichilema Hakainde must not step anywhere in his funeral. Nevertheless, the government went ahead and called for a national mourning period and a funeral plan for the late president. The confusion has continued over where the body should go, who to speak, and how citizens should mourn, state funeral, and who should own the condolence book. There have been closed-door negotiations, a headway found, and yet another quagmire.
Members of the press will have a briefing from the leaders of the opposition.
This is the late Lungu's opposition party, the Patriotic Party.
That a private jet, a private aircraft, a private chartered aircraft, chartered by friends of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is the one that will transport the remains. We will therefore be on standby at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport to ensure that that has been done. Secondly, we are aware that the second condition was that the remains of Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu will be in the possession of the family. And we shall stand by in support of the family to ensure that no one but the family have access to and possession of the body.
Yesterday, Zambia's president addressed the nation, calling for peace and tolerance in the country as they mourn the departed leader.
Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over. This will allow the country to begin to return to some normalcy. Mr. Lungu was not only an ordinary citizen, but our 6th Republican president. While we recognize that he belongs to a family, he also belongs to the nation of Zambia. It is therefore correct that our 6th Republican president should be buried in Zambia with full honors and not in any other nation. In the meantime, we urge our citizens to maintain calm and orderliness.
The late Lungu will likely be laid to rest on Monday next week if all goes well. Victor Uding.
Lawmakers in the UK are set to vote today on the landmark assisted dying bill, which would allow terminally ill, mentally competent adults with less than 6 months to live the legal right to end their lives under strict safeguards. The vote marks a critical moment after months of debate, with the outcome expected to shape the future of end-life legislation in the country. Here are the details.
Assistance to live, not to die.
As lawmakers prepare to cast their votes today, the assisted dying bill is entering a decisive phase after months of intense parliamentary debate. The terminally ill adults bill, which proposes legalizing assisted dying for mentally competent, terminally ill adults with less than 6 months to live, is being put before the Commons for a full vote. If passed, it would mark the first time such legislation moves beyond the consultation stage in the UK, introducing a process overseen by a multidisciplinary panel rather than the courts, with a planned delay in implementation until 20 29.
We had a good majority at second reading. I think it's 55 majority. There might be some small movement in the middle. Some people might change their mind one way, others will change their mind the other way. But fundamentally, I don't anticipate that majority would be heavily eroded.
The ayes to the right, 330.
The bill has drawn national attention, prompting strong reactions both in support and opposition. Public sentiment has largely leaned in favor of the proposal, but the political landscape has grown increasingly uncertain in recent weeks. Parliamentary parties remain divided, and individual members of parliament are approaching the vote with caution due to the ethical and medical complexities involved. Crowds gathered outside Westminster signal the emotional weight of the decision, with both advocacy and opposition groups making their presence felt.
For 5 days, in fact many months, whether she would live or die. Freedom in death is only possible if you have had freedom in life.
That moment also gave me a glimpse of how I would want to live my death.
Today's vote is expected to determine the future direction of end-of-life care policy in the UK. Should the bill succeed in the Commons, it will proceed to the House of Lords for further scrutiny. Advocates see it as a landmark shift towards autonomy and dignity in death, while critics raise concerns over safeguards and the potential impact on vulnerable population. The outcome will shape how society addresses one of its most sensitive and controversial issues in the years to come.
It's a much stronger bill. The bill is in a much stronger place than it was when people voted for it at second reading. Absolutely, we want this to be incredibly strong in terms of the safeguards in place. And as I say, at second reading in November, I felt there's still too many unanswered questions. I think a lot of those questions have now been answered.
Beatrice Wangoi.
Tensions are rising in Cameroon ahead of the October 2025 presidential election. A growing number of prominent voices are calling on the 92-year-old President Paul Biya to step aside after more than 4 decades in power. With a restless youth population and mounting national challenges, this election could mark a turning point for the country, as Elvis Muyodi reports.
As Cameroon heads towards the October 2025 presidential election, pressure is mounting on President Paul Biya to step down after over 40 years in power. A growing coalition of academics, traditional leaders and civil society figures says his continued rule at age 92 no longer meets the country's urgent needs, from the Anglophone crisis to economic decline and widespread corruption. Supporters argue that Biya brings stability, but critics, including prominent church leaders, say another term risks deepening political stagnation. Human rights groups warn of an increasingly repressive climate, with opposition voices silenced and freedoms curtailed in the lead-up to the vote. With over 2/3 of Cameroonians under 30, frustration is rising. For many, the October election is more than a vote. It's a generational choice between clinging to the past or stepping into a new era of leadership and reform. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
President Donald Trump is expected to make a decision within the next 2 weeks on whether the United States will take military action against Iran amid the escalating Israel-Iran conflict. The White House announced that Trump is allowing this time frame to explore the possibility of negotiations with Iran, which could potentially avert further escalation. White House Press Secretary Caroline quoted Trump saying there is a substantial chance of negotiations and that he will decide whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. Trump has expressed a preference for diplomatic resolution, but remains prepared to use military force if necessary, emphasizing a peace-through-strength approach. The U.S. has acknowledged Israel's recent airstrikes on Iranian targets as unilateral, but has shown support for Israel's action. Here is more on the story.
Regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president.
Well, it is time for your favorite segment of the bulletin, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Real Madrid star forward Mbappe has been hospitalized, dealing a major blow to the team and Club World Cup. The French striker was already sidelined for Madrid's opening match, and now his status for the rest of the tournament is in a serious doubt. Now, here is the latest on Mbappe's condition and what it means to the competition.
Kylian Mbappe has been hospitalized with acute gastroenteritis, forcing him to miss Real Madrid's Wednesday Club World Cup opener against Al Hilal in Miami. Gastroenteritis is also known as stomach flu, and symptoms can include vomiting and diarrhea. The French star was already dealing with a fever, and his condition now casts doubt on his return for Sunday's match against Pachuca. Mbappe's absence is a major blow to both Real Madrid and the tournament, which FIFA hopes will rival the UEFA Champions League. Over 62,000 fans missed the chance to see him in action as Madrid settled for a surprising 1-1 draw against Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal. Just a year after playing through a broken nose at the Euros, Mbappe faces another health setback. Real Madrid says he'll undergo tests and begin treatment, but his status for the rest of the tournament remains uncertain. Elvin Muyodi.
It is a historic moment in Kenyan football as Kenya Police FC prepare to be officially crowned FKF Premier League champions this Sunday after securing their first ever title with a game to spare last week after a 1-0 win over Shaban. All eyes now turn to their final clash of the season against Giants Gor Mahia at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Here is the report.
Kenya Police are set to wrap up a historic season with high-stakes clash against Gor Mahia at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. After clinching their first ever FKF Premier League title with a game to spare, the champions will leave their trophy in front of their home fans this coming Sunday.
I think first thing naweza sema imekuwa hii ni history because all the time tumekuwa NSL for around 6 to 7 years na on the stage tukiwa tunatapanda tulisema one day one time tutachukua ligi, but hatukuwa tunajua itakuwa less than 4 years because kwa NSL tulikaa sana, but tulikuwa na ambition tukipanda tupande ligi then tukue watu wa kutafuta ligi pia ya KPL.
So I found a good team, well established with good talent inside, but also with the officials who has the vision. So it was easy to understand each other, to push. But all in all, we prayed that it's God's blessing. So we thank God. Yeah.
Captain David Checha Ocheng credits the team's unity and strong management for their success.
It's very important for us to win the league because, first of all, in history. The second thing, management wame invest a lot in this team through salaries, through sign-on fees, through quality players. So I think the best way to maybe award them or reward them was to give them a cup. Last season tulichukua Mozart Cup, but it was not enough because I think the quality tuko nao hapa kwa hii team ni ya kuchukua ligi. So I think we went for it, and I think history ina make you because tumetoka relegation mpaka tuko kwa number 1. So it's kind of a history Police kuchukua ligi, na pia tumetoka a few teams watoka relegations wanakuja chukua trophy. So it's another history on top of one.
Despite their dominant domestic campaign, Cheche acknowledged the difficulties they faced, balancing league action with CAF Continental assignment after winning the FKF Cup last season, which disrupted their rhythm at crucial points in the season.
About the CAF matches, I think we travel a lot. Tulipita first round, tukaja kucheza second round. So by the time ukirudi kwa Premier League, I think teams had played around 6 or 7 matches. So to catch up with the fatigue and we had some small injuries here and there. So catching up the league that pia imekuwa a competitive league ilikuwa somehow hard for us because teams ikiwa at a point already and mko na games in hand, so hata mkishinda labda mnashinda na washaenda, and then we came up we drew around 5 matches, so haikuwa intention zetu ilikuwa kuwin ndo tuwafikie, but so after drawing 5 matches inabaki tulikuwa relegation, so kukachap ilikuja kwa ngumu kidogo, so we had just to keep on working and believe in ourselves.
While Police FC celebrate their maiden title, Gor Mahia turned their attention to the FKF Cup final, where they will seek redemption against Nairobi United. For Police, Sunday marks the start of a new chapter in the Kenyan football. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Well, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time. Same channel will make your news our business. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Ivy Kamau. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.